now the Bitcoin bull keeps charging away. Are you seeing? A Bitcoin bull keeps charging away. I'm not the bubble. I'm not the bubble. I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble. I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble. I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble. I'm not the bubble. I'm not the bubble. I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble. I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble, I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble, I'm the pin. A Bitcoin bull is all I got left. Sold my clothes, gold no less. Walls are circling, hollow hands. This man stronger than the average.
You're listening to Anyobservation, the best NFT, crypto, and gaming podcast ever. With your host, Anders Bjork.
And yeah, we are unmuted. We are people can hopefully see us and hear us, and I'm back. I'm sick. I have had a few weeks where I haven't been able to do live shows because I have been traveling. I was in London, the NFT London event, the Atomic Hub event, and now I'm here with Mike, which is a delayed interview we were supposed to do Wednesday. My sickness delayed us. How are you doing, Mike?
It's quite all right. Anders, first, I'm sorry you don't feel well. Second, this is our third time speaking, so third time's usually the charm. And then finally, we always see each other like from the chest up, but I saw you like on, not a red carpet, on something event related, and you look like you're about 6 feet 9 inches tall. I don't know how tall you are, but I'm like, oh, is Anders like a giant? Like I had no idea. Either people you're next to are very short, or you're unbelievably tall.
It is. I'm not unbelievably tall. I'm not small, but I think it's when I'm next to Juan from Nifty Blocks that you think, because he's rather short and I'm a bit taller, and then I'm also kind of wide, so I'm muscular and everything, and it's a great photo because of that.
It is a fantastic photo. I thought, oh my God, Anders is a giant, and I had no idea.
Yeah. So, no, but actually, I got comments before that people think that I'm like 150 centimeters tall, that I'm very short because they only see me this way. But no, that's not true. And if my voice dies today, Mike will speak extra, and also I brought some medicine for today. So yeah, I haven't tried this; it's unopened, and I plan to try it throughout this interview, and hopefully I can speak after, or that will be the last thing I do today.
Well, it's going to have an interesting effect on your. First, I think it's going to torch your throat. But if you're clogged up at all, your sinuses are congested, it will clear those out like that. It is very hot.
So we will see if that's the best or the worst thing I do today.
Yeah, there's this great video going around in the wax or the Tyranno digital hallways of a woman in Spain, tasting it, like doing a shot of it, or putting it on a chip, something, and she's like, tastes like, oh, it's good. And then about like 5 seconds later, she's like. And she couldn't believe how hot it was, so it was very amusing. Anyway, good luck with that.
Yeah, if I did it properly, then I should have together with this, I should have brought some chicken wings or something, and that would have been great.
For sure, that's very true.
But okay, so we're back together the third time. Last time was in April, I think.
Yes, we did January, April, and now, and with each phase, you kind of brought me on to talk about kind of what we're doing. We're pre-launch and then launch, and now we're PvP launch.
Yeah, exactly, and we will get into the Brawlers PvP, and hopefully somewhere after a while today in the interview, I can also challenge you, and you can show everyone how to actually play the game. Since that is possible, and so far I think I've lost every game I played.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I gamble too much when I play and take risks. So
me too.
Yeah, that's good. But okay, you guys are not just building blockchain brawlers. You're also building other games, and we have a few questions that I will try to bring up throughout this chat, this conversation with you from the community that I have seen over the past weeks or months. So it might not just be now. So there might be something that you have already responded to, or something else. So let's first get a summary of what you're actually building. So you have 3 games. What are they?
So Blockchain Brawlers is obviously the first game, and there's a great kind of history there that I talked about. And the very first thing I said to you, and we can get into that in a little bit when we talk about Brawlers, we talk about the evolution of what that is. The next game is Music Mogul, which is, kind of a music tycoon style game, if you will, music simulator, which again, we built that for a very different reason, for a very different audience, to try to get a signal on something. And then the last game is Axis Zero, which we haven't really talked about a lot publicly, which is a really ambitious, there's a lot of moving pieces to that. That is a kind of a challenging space to get into, but we're classic game developers. We're not afraid of any challenge. And then there's a couple of unannounced games that we're also working on as well. And I think the important thing to note with the 5 things that we've done is that you see certain companies like, oh, they're great at idle games, so they'll give you 17 different versions of an idle game, or they're really good at fighting games, so it's reskinned fighting games because that's what they know how to do, or RPGs or what have you. Like, the thing that you'll get with Tyranno is that every single thing that we do is for a different reason, for a different audience, to try to get a different set of learnings, right? Because we don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket. And Blockchain Brawlers, as an example, is a very high-end, aggressive, kind of gambler, speculator kind of game, very male, very kind of 25 to 35 and up. Music Mogul is, a much younger kind of, 18 and up endeavor. We think it's more purple than blue or pink necessarily. We think it appeals to just about everybody. It's a different play style altogether. And again, because we think that caters to different crowds. So every single thing that we do is very intentional, right? Like, what slot does this fill? It's more like the classic kind of game developer or game publisher is like, what's our portfolio look like, right? Where's our survival horror game? Where's our racing game? Where's our fighting game? Where's our RPG? Where's our this? Where's our that? We take this very much this portfolio approach as well. It's what we're used to doing. And we know that's, again, we will find something that works really, really well, and then we'll double and triple down on that. And we do that by making multiple bets.
Yeah. And so how much can you share about Axis Zero, since that's the one that you mentioned least when you talked about those 3?
Yeah, and it's funny. It's the least developed idea because we've just kicked it off kind of in the last 6 months. We're really, really, really keeping that under wraps. We've released some kind of teaser imagery, talked about a little bit of the backstory, but that's a MMORPG effectively, and that's going to be years in the making. And what that looks like, and when kind of a vertical slice or even a proof of technology comes online, is all TBD. And so we don't want to talk about it too much because we don't want to not only mislead, but it's very much in its formative stage. And I think in the old days, like a year ago, the old days of crypto gaming, it's like, hurry up and get something to market quickly and take advantage and, do whatever you're going to do. Now what we're finding, we look at all these other games, we look at all these other kind of, PFPs tied to a technology demo and on and on and on. Like, the consumers are getting smarter, which is what we want, because we think, more scrutiny, we actually stand up and measure very favorably. And so what we know that we want to bring to the audience is a really complete end-to-end story. Here's what it is, here's why it is, here's how it is, and here's where it is, right? And unless you can kind of have all that connective tissue exist between all those different tent poles, you need to tell a complete story. And, we're not going to really kind of go out with Axis Zero and really, kind of blow that out until we can tell that full story. And the other thing I will say is, building an MMORPG is really, really hard to do. You're competing with Blizzard. You're competing with, NCSoft. You're competing with the biggest of the big, the best of the best. And then you factor into the sort of the equation, well, is this a metaverse or not? Well, the definition of metaverse is kind of really squirrely and depends on who you talk to. It's not as metaversey as I think a lot of people think of, where, oh, can I bring in my artifact shoes and walk around and, go to discos that somebody else built? And like, not in this game. And so what is that vernacular, and what are the definition of metaverse versus MMORPG, and what interoperability can kind of coexist there? It's all, to be determined. And so we know that, more and more, like, credibility matters, and you can't just say, trust me, it'll be great, and I'm not going to tell you who I am and where I've come from. You have to say, this is who I am, this is where I've done, this is the engine I'm using, here's the tokenomics, here's the white paper, here's all of these things to get people comfortable, because they've all been burned too many times. And so until we have all those pieces fleshed out enough, we're not going to disclose a lot of information. And Music Mogul's going through that a little bit too, in that we did a shift because we thought the original premise and the original developer wasn't quite strong enough. So we're re-engineering and re-architecting and redesigning a lot of things, and the community is like, well, what's going on, where's the game? I'm like, trust me, we're trying to build something great, and you want us to hurry up and get something out half-baked. We're not going to rush it. And I'm sorry. We stopped sales. We were going to do 5 pack sales every 2 weeks. We're going to do 4 categories of music every 2 weeks, and over 8 weeks we're going to sell our starting content. And once we realized that we weren't pleased with the game, we stopped the pack sales altogether. Like, the first pack sold out, we're like, okay, great, and we didn't need that to fund the game, which is the other important thing, right? That a lot of people get hung up on, is like, if you need our money to fund the game, how serious of a developer are you? It's like, yeah, that's actually a great point. We actually don't need your money to fund the game. We try to sell packs to generate interest and promotional value. But we slowed everything down on Music Mogul because we needed to re-architect a lot and redesign certain things and go with a developer that was a higher quality. And people, again, they're like, is there trouble in Paris? Like, no, not at all. Like, well, you're so quiet. It's like, right, well, we're here and know that we're WAC/Tyranno, so we're not going anywhere. But, have some faith in us. Well, why should we? Well, look what we've done with Blockchain Brawlers since March 31st when we went live to today. They're like, right, so why can't Music Mogul be as prominent as Blockchain Brawlers? Is like, these things take time. They take people. They take energy. They take focus. You just have to wait. It's funny, Anders, the crypto audience is the most neurotic in terms of, like, I bought a plot of land in Aftermath Islands over a year ago, and they said it'll be out in over a year. I'm like, great, I'll wait. And then you've got other people like, okay, I just bought this, I want something immediately. It's like, well, are you willing to wait a year or two, or do you want something like right now? Like, there's this real kind of binary, like, wild swings,
Yeah, but I think that also is the crypto market goes up and down. We have seen that, especially in the last few days. There can be some events that just tumbles everything like crazy. So a lot of people buy anything in crypto and NFTs expecting a return. So that is why they want something immediately, and they want something to see. They want to buy as much as possible for as little money as possible with as big return as possible. And
as soon as possible.
Exactly, as soon as possible. They want it instantly. They want all the tokens for no price, and someone else buy it from them. So I think that affects the whole mentality, where we have also seen a lot of promises from a lot of projects in NFTs and crypto and the space, where they have these big promises and they keep making promises, but we don't see any results. And after a while, it shows that it was all a fraud. They never was intending to build anything. They just told everyone that they were, and so I think people have learned from all of their burns or all of the sad stories.
There's been a lot of touching stoves to see if they're hot, right? Like, we call that stove touching. And you're exactly right. The reason why they want to know about your game and when are they going to be profitable and all these things is because they've had such bad experiences before. People didn't go to Jeff Bezos as soon as they bought Amazon stock a week later saying, when Lambo, Jeff Bezos. Now, in Amazon's case, when Lambo was pretty soon if you bought enough Amazon stock at the right time. But, these investors in these games, they don't look at games like they do traditional blue chip stocks or even growth stocks, right? Because there you take this very, like, I can't put my money in, and even if I'm a day trader, I'll wait on something, a year or 2 or 3. But in this, it's like, I put money in, please make sure I, get it back at some point. And that's a very kind of different mentality. And that's informed by the fact that they do have all this scar tissue. And it's really made us kind of reevaluate, think about how do we message and how do we manage? Because the thing I told you on day one was, and this doesn't sit well with a lot of people, but player profitability is not a goal, it's a result. Right? Like if I can bring you into a game and you can play for a long time, you can accumulate a lot of things, and hopefully those things go up in value over time, or hopefully you at least, can have a fee off ramp that allows you to get back what you put into it. And that's kind of, how we see the world. Like, just hang in there with us. We'll get there. But my goal, I don't build things to make sure that players are profitable as soon as they possibly can be. Like, it's this very differentiated way of thinking about it. If you lead with player profits, you're going to compromise in all these other things. And, it's really funny. I get into these discussions all the time. We have our Discord community, I think, is the best in the world, by the way. There's some of the best, smartest, most insightful people that we have healthy discourse all the time. And they say to me, no player is going to play this game unless they can make a profit. I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, that's just the reality. Nobody's going to play this game unless they can make a profit. I'm like, well, the stats show, if you look outside into the regular gaming world, there's 3 billion core gamers, 3 billion in the world that identify themselves as gamers. And they spent, I don't know what the number was this year, but last year it was $175 billion to buy items in games or on purchasing of games. And I said, and they owned 0% of that. To me, that's statistical significance.
Didn't Diablo Immortal make 100 million the first month or the first week? That was in no time at all when they launched. And people spend money on games to get advantage as long as the game is fun. We have a few questions that we had. So it sounds like your team is building a lot of different projects, and you have more than just 3 going. And then a follow-up, so that assumes that you have a lot of things to do. Is your team huge? Do you have 250 people working on this, or how do you manage to build all of these projects?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've cloned myself 17 times, and that certainly, no. So from the development standpoint, we work with, we have one internal team that is building blockchain brawlers, but even different pieces of blockchain brawlers are built by third-party groups. So we're working with a group called Hashbang, and they're building the PvP piece. But the game design was done by Richard Garfield, and then his engineers built the prototype that we took in. And then we're doing a mode called Brawl for All, which is being built by OneSys, which developed Hodl Gods. And so that's going to be a PvP mode also inside of blockchain brawlers. So I don't want to say outsource, but we work with groups that we think are really competent. And then we play kind of manager, molder, live operator with those things. And it's a lot of plates to keep spinning. But that's kind of how we do things. We have this really entrepreneurial, take the hill kind of startup mentality because, in a large extent, we are a startup, right? We're very entrepreneurial in that regard. Same with Music Mogul, same with Access Zero. Those are being developed by third-party groups, and then we're managing the development process. And we do have, project managers and marketing folks that kind of help bring these things to life, but it's not like, I am in coding and designing and doing art and doing project planning and doing analytics and all those things. I touch a little bits of all those things, but it really is, it's about how do we scale and how do we, kind of lean into our strengths. So.
Yeah, that's good. And I found Hashbang's website and showed people. So hopefully it was the right Hashbang. It was it was an indie game developer team, so that was nice. I did that mistake once a long time ago. There was a guy mentioning something and I pulled it up and it was a same name, same field, but it was a different team. So it was ironic. And Nick said, so you're more of a publisher or a game studio, and I guess from your description you're a bit of both.
We are. So we are absolutely a publisher. In fact, we have a second party game we're doing where we actually have, we have a little bit of a stake in a project, in a game that we really love. It's not quite yet announced, but you'll see us coming out with some news around that in the next 3 weeks. It's actually super exciting. And so they're doing most all the lifting there, and we're going to help with, kind of marketing and user acquisition. But they're doing all production, development, design, live ops, on and on and on. And they're actually doing, and there's some licensed content going to that, some really exciting licensed content. And they're kind of running point on all those things. And we're going to help them kind of come to market and really blow that out. So that's what we call a second party deal. But then we have all of our first party stuff as well. And so depending on kind of what the game is and what the opportunity is, we don't want to put ourselves in a box, right? Like we'll shift roles. We're very vertically integrated. So here I am, the chief gaming officer, but I'm also, answering questions in Discord tied to, customer support. And it's not like, wow, you don't have anybody. Like I do, but with Brawlers as an example, I think the thing I said to you really early on is that nobody knew at that point kind of what Wax Studios was all about. Yeah. And so, we wanted to set the tone and lead by example and say, look, these are the kind of games we build. This is the kind of customer service we have. This is how we build community. This is how we communicate. These are all these things that you can expect when you see our brand on something. And, again, I think that, people who come in, the immediate comment that a lot, especially the new community members say is like, oh, wow, I'm not used to this, right? Which is kind of the point. It's like we think differently, we act differently, we do things differently because we care so much about making sure there's a good user experience. It doesn't matter if it's a user in the community, user in the game, user in any of the social channels, Telegram, Discord, Twitch, you name it. It doesn't matter. Like we want to make sure that, people are tucked in on things and that we're there and that their concerns, we listen to them. And
Pedro says that he loves your communication on Discord also. That's very nice. Well, John in YouTube, but he said before that he's Pedro. Anyone reading the chat.
Let me interrupt really quickly. I'm sorry for interrupting. The funny thing is, like in Discord, there's this whole chatbot thing, and you get leveled up by chatting and replying and all these things, and there's experience levels. And every time it dings, like, oh, look at me, like that dopamine hit. And then when I go into Slack and I'm answering all these messages on Slack, I'm like, I wonder what my Slack level is. I'm like, oh wait, yeah, there's no XP level in Slack. So
why don't you implement it there also?
Should be.
Yeah, internal leveling for staff and get a battle going.
Yeah.
We also have a dark horse, something that was announced and then de-announced or removed recently.
Ooh. Yeah.
What can you or can you not say about that?
I can't say a whole lot. Again, we were involved with a developer who had a relationship with a rights holder. And, we did a lot of due diligence on the matter and we felt pretty good about kind of what was going on. And then we didn't feel so good about it. So we distanced ourselves kind of intentionally. And I think they're still planning on doing something, but we have no affiliation there. And we wish them the best of luck and hope that everything works out. And the reason why we did it clearly was we had, we had community and consumers' best interest at heart. And we wanted to bring something we thought was really, really compelling. It turns out, there was just too much risk associated with it. So we decided to, divest of that kind of opportunity.
There has been a few rumors about that going around. And their Twitter account changed name to a new name.
Yeah.
And that is that Twitter handle is to a game that one of the partners in that project owns the rights for. Just so everyone knows. So some people thought that it was a pure scam. They never had the rights to anything, and then they changed the name to try to scam someone from the new name. That was
I'll tell you what I know. I'll tell you what I know and what our position was is that this group claimed that they had rights, and it didn't seem to make much sense to us. But they filed suit for ownership of IP, and they got granted by the British Supreme Court. They said, yes, you have rights to this industrial design of this item around the world. They lost that same case in the United States. And the company sued and said, you don't have the rights in the United States. It's fine. We'll concede the U.S., but kind of rest of the world, we think we own. And we have the highest court in our country that has ruled in our favor. And we have documentation to that effect. Yeah. And then it's like, what did they own and what did they have the rights to? Then became, then how far did you take that commercially, right? Like that was the challenge. And nobody was ever intending to rug pull anyone. It was just, it's really weird because again, we had what we thought were consumers' best interests in mind, and yet nobody took any money, nobody got rug pulled, nobody got scammed, And, we spent, a decent amount of time and energy, building up the assets to make this a thing. And so, again, once we realized there was too much risk and maybe consumers, again, the big evil megacorp would come in and kind of stomp on it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Let's keep our powder dry. Let's make sure that everybody is protected. Let's, move away. And if they want to move forward, God bless, but we're not going to be a part of that.
Nice. Awesome. Now we got a comment, and I know that was a big question for a lot of people, and we talked about it in London and a few things when we met, because it was recent and relevant, not as recent as the crypto chaos for the last few days. I hope no one in the chat or anyone viewing this got hurt bad on that. I know a lot of people lost money now, and it's not a good and fun sign for anyone.
Not at all. Yeah, look, SBF, he's an interesting character, and CZ kind of going at him, and like it just, when you get inside kind of the inner workings of these companies, you understand these personalities into play.
One thing I can take from
really
this
just really interesting.
There's a lot of people that are really talented at creating memes. There are a lot of fun memes going around about FTX right now. I'm sure. A lot of Twitter is really fun in that sense right now. So, Tyranno Studios was called Wax Studios. Why that name change, and why are you doing things on Wax and other blockchains now?
Yeah, what's really interesting is that, we have a lot of strategic relationship discussions all the time with other companies. We talk to everybody you'd think we would be talking to, because again, the thing that we've always said is the way forward for mass adoption is a cross-chain world, right? And there's all this tribalism around my protocol or my chain or my wallet, and like that's fine for the real hardcore, crypto bros. But in reality, people just want to show up and they want their stuff to work. It's like, well, what protocol are you on, or what wallet do you have? Like, wait, what? I want to buy this and I want to use it. Yeah. Like, right, but do you have a Wax wallet? Do you have a MetaMask wallet? Do you have an Anchor wallet? Do you have a Wombat wallet? Are you on a layer 2? Are you on a layer I have this and I want to use it. Like that, literally, it's got to be this Web 2 mentality. So, Wax Studios and now Tyranno very much believe in this kind of this cross-chain world. So as you can imagine, we have conversations with, all the usual suspects, right? So pick a protocol of choice, pick a wallet of choice, pick a marketplace of choice. Like we're reaching out to all these groups saying, look, we're building content and onboarding players into kind of our chain, but we want to, make sure that there's bridges to everywhere. Simple to use, kind of Web 2 style interfaces to convert assets to allow for liquidity to be anywhere. We think utility on Wax makes a ton of sense, but liquidity everywhere. And so these are all these conversations we're having. The really interesting note, when we started meeting with all these groups, they're like, oh, I thought you would only develop for Wax and do things within Wax. Like we never even thought to reach out to you. Like your chain is great. Your stats are incredible. Like we're really envious of your DAU count and your transactional velocity and all these things. But we never thought to engage you because we thought you only built content exclusively for Wax because you're Wax Studios. So of course you're building stuff for Wax. Like, well, nobody owns Wax. Wax is like saying I own the internet. Like you just can't. But we are a studio function. Do we have, a similar kind of co-founding groups? Of course we do. And so that's why we want to build content first and foremost to showcase the power of the EOS-IO standard and so our protocol. And so once they realized that we had the ability and the desire to move content everywhere, that sort of changed the tenor. And we thought, okay, so we probably need to rebrand so there's not that affiliation, right? And so whether we're doing, investment calls, strategic discussions with any of those groups, now we very much are starting to carve out our own identity. And we still absolutely bang the drum for, utility on Wax because it is the best protocol in the world, bar none. And when people do research, it's really funny. I talk about this all the time. They go, like I do all these shows all the time, with these different streamers, and they go, wow, I did some research on Wax before you came on. Like, you guys are crushing it. Like, why haven't I heard about this before? I'm like, nails on the chalkboard. Like, I hate to hear that, but I get that a lot. And we're working on changing that, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, what are you working, or how are you working to change that or get the Wax brand out together with the games that you're building and everything else?
Yeah, what's really funny is that, a lot of people are like, oh, this crypto winter is terrible, but we actually kind of like it in a bizarre and twisted way because it really removes the paper hands, right? Like the people that, aren't into crypto, we've seen a lot of movement with the tokens on Solana and Polygon of late. Again, at some point, utility and real kind of tangible performance is going to matter, right? Like we want to move into a world of a meritocracy, and that's happening now just by the fact that, all these other groups are now getting kind of their hat handed to them. I'll give you one example. So we used to go out and look for content to acquire or work with and bring to the Wax blockchain. There you go. And they'd be like, well, we're talking to other protocols, and, what's your capacity to write a check? I'm like, well, what size check? They're like, 7-8 figure check. I'm like, well, we would think you would want to build on Wax because you're going to have a hard time because those games can't scale and gas fees, like all those similar questions. And they'd all say the exact same thing. We think Wax is great. We want to build on Wax, but these other people are writing us a check we can't ignore. That's advantage has gone away. Like we know those groups that have written grant, like not even like they want to invest in the game or the studio. They just give a grant to come support their chain, which to me was just my most mind-blowing thing in the world. Like literally, please support our protocol. They had to pay people to do that. If that doesn't terrify you as a consumer, as a user, like, wow, this chain can't organically attract interest. They actually have to pay, $1, $2, $5, $8, $10 million for a group to come onto their chain. Like, that's not a good sign. And so why do they have to pay?
Then you can also use that to it can be both. You can help to fund projects to bring more users in, and once they're there, they notice that, hey, this works nice, and it's not actually as bad as I thought or as horrible. I mean, the gaming world hates on NFTs and hates on crypto, and for them to be introduced to it, they need to also have some proper exposure that it ain't just a money grab, but actually some quality and some actual use cases that make sense for their games.
And this whole notion around the Reddit PFPs lately is really opening people's eyes. It's almost like this Trojan horse. People are like, I hate NFTs, but you've got a NFT for your PFP on Reddit. Oh, that's an NFT? Yeah, and you've got a wallet with it. It's like, like it's this real kind of low key. You can talk about how much you hate NFTs and whatnot, and yet here you are, utilizing them and getting a benefit or an advantage from them, and understand, like, NFTs aren't the Antichrist, right? It's not the end of the world. Actually, once you get comfortable with it. And look, the big game publishers are guilty for not educating their consumers about the value of NFTs, because the big game companies actually don't want to share the money with the players. Like, that's a really important thing, right? The whole notion of NFT and a player-to-player economy or participation economy is you've got to, as a publisher developer, you've got to divert some of the funds that would otherwise come to you, and you've got to give them to the players. Like, it's just that simple. And like, well, I can't do that because then my margins look terrible. But in reality, the big win for the developer and publisher, because people say, well, gee, why would game companies actually ever allow the players to do this? Because there's huge friction to buying in a game. But if you have a fee off ramp, all of a sudden that goes away. Like, you talk about players all the time, like, oh, I've got $5,000 in World of Warcraft, or I've got $10,000, or I've got $100,000. It's like, yeah, and why do you stay? Well, I can't leave because I've invested so much money. And like, they literally guilt you into staying, right? Which is a terrible thing. Like, you don't want anybody to stay out of resentment, but like, they do. And so if you know that you can, even if you can get like half your money back on something, you're much more willing to come in, spend, and stay if you have a fee off ramp. So that's going to help the game publishers with user acquisition like you can't even believe. And that's going to help the overall number of gamers in the world go from 3 billion to 3.3, 3.5, ultimately 4 billion. Like, they'll see real meaningful growth, because now that barrier to exit, it used to be a barrier to entry. Now you're lowering the barrier to exit, which is kind of counterintuitive, but it's a really powerful thing once you realize, like, oh wow, I can get 25% more players with the same amount of effort. I'd take that all day long. Well, it's going to cost you 10% of your revenue. That's fine. I'm getting 20%, 25% more players. And player aggregation and player retention and player engagement, like, that's kind of the holy trinity that these game companies are looking to make sure that they're taking advantage of. And so, especially since Apple changed the way IDFA works, right? And it's no more this, targeting based on search history and based on things that you like, which is, violating, your privacy of your individual kind of digital footprint. And now it's going back to contextual targeting and all those things that aren't nearly as effective. And since the ad targeting is ineffective, the price of acquisition goes higher. The price of acquisition goes higher as more people competing for that audience, the price goes up. And I'll give you one example. It used to be, if you want to buy a male gamer, 18 to 34, that was self-professed a PvP gamer, it would cost you, $9 to $10 per user acquired. And that was with highly optimized targeting, because there were so few of them, because their LTVs were really, really high. So an LTV of a male PvP gamer is like over $100. So of course you'll spend up to $80 to get that guy who's going to spend $100, and you'll get as many of them as you can.
Yeah, getting a gamer like me to play your game is rather difficult. It will take a lot for me to try a new game. And usually it's only if someone I know recommends it. It's always
right.
Or if I'm at an event and I talk to someone about it. Like I'm going to the DreamHack in 2 weeks in Sweden. There I will have exposure to new games. I usually always find the new games to try and test. And when I see other people playing it, or there is some booth with the game, and I know that you guys were at NFT in New York. Do you have plans to do more of these conferences and things, to now that you actually have a PvP that people can play and test? What is your outreach plan for that moving forward?
Yeah, so, Friday next week, we plan on having what we think is a pretty turnkey experience. So players will be able to come in and, use their NFTs that they've acquired. They'll be able to use them in the game. And you need sort of 12 explicit NFTs to play. So the things they've been mining, crafting, creating, collecting, buying, trading for, those will now be present and required in the game. They'll have the ability to then stake Brawl to compete head-to-head with other people. And then the PvP laddering system, the MMR, the ELO chess, if you will be in. And so once those, and then also by the end of next week, I'm planning on us having the ability to buy Brawl with a credit card. Brawl is our fungible token. The ability to buy Brawl with a credit card, which is a very, consumer-friendly thing. Like, if you've ever gone onto Alcor and not known what it's like to work with an exchange, you're like, what's the spread mean, and what's a limit order? And it's super confusing. But it's like, I'm used to buying 1,000 of something for a credit card. With a credit card, I can do that. Like, great, come on in, right? It's all this very consumer friendly things. All those things will come home to roost on Friday. And so once we have that complete end-to-end experience, now we have this highly stable version where you can get in, you can play, and you can have a really good time. Now that those things are live, we feel much more confident and comfortable about pumping a lot of people into the top of that funnel. So as an example, Richard Garfield on Tuesday is going to do a live interview with TechCrunch, right? And it's going to be all about blockchain brawlers. Now, Richard Garfield has huge reach. TechCrunch is mainstream gaming. Like, there's all these things that we are now going to do because we tell a better story in a different way. And we're going to use these assets to go out and really kind of blow out, come give this a shot. It's time well spent. And the one thing I will say, kind of in closing on that point, is, in order for us to get mass audience adoption, to really break through, you have to have the onboarding and the funnels and the frictionless and all that stuff. But what you really, really need is you need to give people a better use of their time. Free time is so valuable. And people have, like, I only play this many games a day because it's all I have time for. So what you're trying to do is you're actually competing for somebody's slot, right? Like, in the morning I play this, at lunch I play this, at nighttime when I've got a little bit more time I play that. Like, where is blockchain brawlers fitting into that world? And if it's not a better use of their time, they're not going to do it. It's not like, well, you can make money, like, because that's not the driving factor. Like, you have to validate their use of time in a big way. And we think we've done that because we started a great game, and then we everything flows from that.
So your PvP has been testing. I played it on Steam the first time, and now you can actually play it in the browser, which is way more accessible for crypto people. I mean, gamers got Steam, and it's very easy to just install something there. But for most people, they play from a tablet or something like that. Is my guess. I don't know. Your biggest audience for the game, have you an idea if they play on phone, tablet, or desktop so far?
So far, they play on the desktop because the PvP version is not accessible through mobile web. Mobile web is really challenging when it comes to WebGL. Yeah. As you can imagine, there's a lot of bizarre hoops that you have to jump through, and there's a lot of conflict between iOS devices, Android devices, WebGL, playing on iOS on Safari versus Safari on desktop, and it's a lot of conflicts that exist. So for us, the step function is browser on desktop for mass accessibility, and then soon thereafter a dedicated client again for best performance, low latency, high connection rates, and then at some point down the road a mobile app, which we think is just a natural for this. So we want to have an experience that basically says, kind of doesn't matter where you are or what you're on, we've got you covered. And that to us is the path to getting our content in the hands of every player.
So a lot of people that play crypto games expect to get some kind of token when they play or have some kind of in-game currency. I mean, that's a part of every game, not just a crypto game. You have your in-game tokens and everything. So for the PvP game, I want to play against you in a bit, but first, if we play PvP or and everything, is there a way for me to earn more Brawl tokens, or is there a way to do some kind of token earning or something?
Yeah, there will be. It won't be. I'm sorry about that. It won't be farming like the old kind of mining days where you just click and show up and get something. Like that has no tension. It's really boring, and that model doesn't work. And we tried and we learned a lot of great lessons. But the thing that we learned really quickly is that you've got to move from an inflationary to deflationary in a healthy way. And we capped our tokens. We said it's $1 billion in total. And once you guys mine all $1 billion, you'll take 80%, we'll take 20%. And then let's work on, building other phases of the game, including the PvP mode. And the players are like, well, what do we do once we're done mining? Like, will you wait? They're like, wait for what? Like, wait for the real game. They're like, oh, okay. And so we kind of manage expectations every step along the way. But to answer your question, yeah, look, if you want to earn Brawl going forward, there's a bunch of ways to do that. We're going to hold global tournaments that we reward, Brawl to players for their placement, because, while we said that the players, the kind of the tokenomics is split is 80-20 between player and developer. Like the 20% that we had, we weren't going to pay the team or pay ourselves or, just sell because we could. We always said we're going to use it for pricing. We're going to use it for user acquisition. We're going to use it for all these things that are really healthy to help grow the environment. And ironically, the players are now at last count, they started with 800 million. They're down to only 620 million, I want to say, and we have 380 million of the tokens. So the money is flowing back to us, so to speak. But yeah, we're going to redistribute it back to the players because we know that's the best way. So tournaments and competitions, that's one way to earn it. Also, if you play somebody head to head, you can stake a certain amount of Brawl and play and get it, just like you would any other kind of skills-based game platform. Like if you've ever been on Skills where you can play head-to-head, it's that same thing. Like, I'll bet you 100 Brawl that I can beat you. Oh yeah, I beat you. Let's go. Like the old arcade days. Is that an in-game
feature already?
Yeah, that's in the game. Well, and that'll go live. Like I said, we're building and finishing out our escrow service that makes sure that money changes hands appropriately and that there's no fraudulent activities. And if there's a disconnect or whatnot, that we handle the graceful failing and the reconnect logic's all in there. That, that's the reason why it's taking us so long, because that is such a vital and important part of the user experience. I played, I was winning, they quit, I got cheated. I'm putting money on the line. Like anytime you're putting up a currency, you want to be super careful. Like I'm staking that. And so when players are staking things, we want to make sure that, everything is on the up and up. And so that's another way to do it. And then, kind of last but not least, we sold Brawlasiums back in July and August, which was our crafting pass. And, players are spending 10 Brawl today to craft an asset that they're selling for between 350 and 600 Brawl per asset that they've crafted. Like it's a really good kind of experience, right? And it uses mutable data, the NFTs. So every time you use the Brawlasium, it goes up in levels. The higher the levels, the better content it crafts. It's like this really fun, innovative kind of way to build content. And who needs the content that's getting crafted? Every single person who plays the game going forward. Like they'll all need the deck cards that get crafted. They'll all need the finishing moves that get crafted. They all need all these things are coming from the players. They're not coming from us. The players are crafting and selling to other players, and they're selling at kind of a 15-to-1, 25-to-1, 60-to-1, ratio in terms of what they're putting in versus what they're getting out.
So if I'm a new user, I just discovered blockchain Brawlers. I want to test it out. Is there something I have to buy to play it? Can I just go to the website and go and play it? What's the process for me?
Yeah, it's really simple. So if you just go to play.bcbrawlers.com, and you log in with hopefully your Waxcloud wallet, but we also support the Anchor wallet. If you log in with the support
Anchor, it worked.
I know you do. You and a few others. 14% of our audience logs in with an Anchor wallet, so we appreciate our Anchor users. And then right at the game's homepage says, buy your starter pack. And you click a button, it takes you right to the purchase flow, and it's everything you need with one purchase, right? So provided you have I think it's like 148 wax or whatever. I don't quote me on the price because the wax price has changed a lot over the last few days. But initially, once upon a time, it was 148 or 150 wax, and that got you every single thing you needed to get started. And then you don't need anything else beyond that. Just get in and start brawling. Now, if you want to stake, then you're going to need more brawl. But you can play against the bots. You can play ranked play for free. There's all these things you can do as long as you get that initial starter pack, which is available right on the homepage. Like you can't get lost. It could not be more clear. Want to start playing? Click this one button and we got you.
I didn't see it, but that might be because I have everything I need to play.
It's not a dynamic banner. If you go to the homepage and you look right below the 3 main banners, it says, buy starter pack.
I looked at the top 3 ones. That's why.
Yeah. Look at the one right below. Maybe we should put that above the fold. That's a good user feedback, Anders.
So it's 12.63 USD I see on the market right now.
Great. Yeah. So there you go. And that's how you do it. As long as you get that, and then you open up your pack, you'll be good to go. Now, the thing I will say, the loadouts to use those NFTs goes live on Monday. I truly believe that. It's very, very close. But if players just want to come in and log in with their Anchor, their Cloud wallet now, they can come in and play the game. We give them everything they need, free to try, for the next, call it 72 hours. So come in and just play the game and try it out and see if you like it. If you do, then get your starter pack and get going. If you don't, that's okay. Like, not everybody's going to love what we do, but we certainly love what we do. And we've got people who tell us, I'm not a gamer and I hate playing games, and this sounds like the dumbest idea in the world, going, I can't get enough of this thing. Like, literally, like, I thought I was going to quit 7 hours ago. I'm still playing. It's like, okay, maybe you do need to take a break. I don't want to game shame people, but it's a thing. The beautiful thing about blockchain brawlers PvP is it's got this wonderful compulsion about it. Like, when you lose, you're so mad, you want to play immediately. And when you win, it feels so good, you want to play again immediately. Like, there's no good time to leave. Like, winning feels so great and losing feels so bad. You're like, I got to go again. It's like that compulsion. Like, let's go. And that's the genius and the brilliance of Richard Garfield. That's nothing that I did. I just said, hey, Richard, talking to Richard for like 4 hours, please work with us. And he's finally like, yeah, okay, you win. And the rest is history. So he's, the thing I'll say about Richard Anders is, like, and I've said this before on other broadcasts, like, he's like this, PhD in mathematics. He's like diabolically smart. And I read the design document. I'm like, I don't really get it, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt because I'm a huge fan. I'm a magic nerd and all that stuff. And then he put the prototype in front of me and I played. I'm like, oh, okay, now that I can play it and touch it, I get it, right? So it takes really hands-on. Like, you could go and read our rules and go, it seems really simple.
So talking about the rules, let's do it like this. To showcase it, I will also share this screen with you so you can guide us. And I will start by playing here. You
start playing and I will guide you.
And you will tell me first against the bot what do I need to do. So I go into here and I go to exhibition match, which is practice against the bot. I do confirm here, and so this is the game that I'm going into. And then let's see.
You need to change your name, Andrew.
Yeah, I was in the menu right now and I refused to do it. I was gonna change it to something that was sarcastic, but then I was unsure if I could change it as many times as I wanted, so I didn't do it.
Play 3-3 to get started. Play 3-3, not 5-3. 3-3. Those are really powerful cards.
And then I go confirm.
Way, go confirm. Yep. Now he's playing a 4. I would probably fold here. And every time you fold, you get 1 additional card dealt to you. So go ahead and fold. Now, because his power meter, see, it's a 1 with a big starburst on it. You're only going to take 1 point damage. Let's see what he was doing. Let's see who was flexing. He's probably got like a 4. He's supposed to show you.
No, he didn't. He didn't want to show me.
He folded as well. Sneaky.
So
okay, play 5-6. So the whole object of the game is this. You get cards numbered 1 through 8, and there's only 32 of them, so there's 4 of each kind. If your 2 cards add up to more than your opponent's 2 cards, you win. It's that simple, right? It seems really easy. But if you decide to, go ahead and bet 2. Bet 2 and see what he does. So 2 is your damage multiplier. And so he's bet 1. Let's see if he calls you. So he called you. Pick a move to do if you win. So now we're going to see if your 5-6 is higher than his 5-1. It was. Congrats, you win. Now he's flexing. We can talk about it in a second, but 11 beats 6 every time. So now you do 2 damage because that's what your damage multiplier was. And now your power meter goes from 1 to 2. Now the next time you do damage is going to be 2 points plus times whatever your damage multiplier is, 1, 2, or 3. Congrats. So now play 5-5 again, or 5-6. I'm sorry, 5-6 again. Yep. Let's see what he does. Now remember, he's got 4 cards. You've got 4 cards, so you have the same amount of cards. So you probably the same amount of odds having good cards.
Legendary are better than mine. Is that the?
He's flexing on you a little bit. Yeah, bet a 2 again and see what he does.
Is the
there we go.
Is it like the common or legendary? Does that matter in the game?
It doesn't matter. It's all aesthetics, but our players like to digitally flex on each other and like to talk a lot of smack. So 5-8. So you lost that time. So now that'll reset your power meter from 2 to 1. His power meter will go from 1 to 2. That's okay. What I'd like to do is I'd like to get you up to 5 or 6 cards so you have more options. So why don't you go ahead and just play whatever and fold his hand. We'll get you to 5 cards. Yeah, play 1 4. Let's just see what he does here. If he plays a 7 or 8, why don't you go ahead? He may be flexing, which is a bit of a bluff, which we can talk about in a second. Bet a 1 or a 2 and call him on it. If he's flexing, you're going to win this hand. What flexing is your face-up card is higher than your face-down card. And this is going to sound a little weird. Every non-flexed hand, which is what you have, your 1 is low. Yeah, see, he's flexing. So you're going to win. What he's saying is, look how strong I am.
So he has 8 points from my point of view, and I have 5.
Right, but you're going to win.
Yeah, and why is that? Is that because the flex card, my flex card is higher?
Right, that's called a flex. So this is where the one time I wish the game had a pause button. When your face-up card is higher than your face-down, his face-up was 7, his face-down was 1. He was really bluffing you. He didn't have a very strong hand, but he acted like he did because he showed you a 7. He's like, oh, look how strong I am. I've got at least 7 points. You're like, ooh, I'm scared I'm going to fold.
So now I'm going to bet that he does the same because he has a 7.
I bet he's going to do the same as well. Right. Yeah. Me too. Because the computer's stupid like that. Let's see.
Yeah, you built it, right?
I didn't build the AI for the bot. Let's be clear. Come on. Less than 7.
Oh, no. That was a big guy.
Sorry, Anders. That's okay. You're still in it. So any non-flex hand, which means the face up is lower or the same as the face down, that's a non-flex hand. Any non-flex hand beats a flex hand independent of the count. Yeah, so go 5. Yeah, go 5-8.
But so this is a very strong hand, I guess.
Yeah, 8-8 is the best possible hand.
And now,
so you got him beat no matter what, because he can't have a 9 down. 8 is the highest card.
So then I go 3, right?
You go 3. You go 3 and really start to drive home your point. Now, he may call you on this. He's not very smart. I doubt he'll fold. Yeah, see, he called you. So pick a move to hit him with. That's the elbow's a good one. It's a elbow across the face. So good. So now you're doing 3 damage. Now your power meter is going to go up to 2. There you go. Ooh, now let's see if you should flex on him. Play a 7-3. See what happens. So now you're going to flex. You're going to say, look how strong I am. I'm betting a 7. Now go 3. Go with your 3 with your damage multiplier. Yeah, see if he folds. He goes 1, and then see if he goes 1 fold. Please fold. 2-3. Oh shit! Sorry, dude.
Why did he win there? Because I was flexing. Because he had 5, but I had 10.
Right. You were flexing, so you always lose to a non-flex hand.
Okay.
But here's the difference. If you win a flexed hand, it does 2x the normal damage. So go 8-8.
Yeah, this is strong.
Yeah, go 8. That's the best hand in the game. So flexes are great because they do a ton of damage, but they're easy to beat. So when you're flexing, you really have to pick and choose your spots, right? Like it's really about being timely. Usually if people have an 8 with a face-up card, like they're flexing because what are the odds they have 2 8s out of 4 cards? Not very high. That kind of thing. You can start to get some read on some people. Now let's go 1-3. Play 1-3. 1s and 3s have superpowers. If you happen to win a hand with a 1 or a 3, your power meter goes up by 2 for each 1 that you have in your hand. Just bet a 1 and see what he does. Just bet a 1. This is for fun. So, see, he folded. Now watch your power meter is going to go from 2 to 7. I'm going to explain that in a second. It's going to go from 2 to 7. It's going to blow your mind.
Yeah,
so you got +2 because you won a hand with a 1, which is really hard to do. 1 is the weakest card in the game, but if you happen to win a hand with a 1, the weakest card, your power meter goes up by 2. The same for a 3. So because you had a 1 and a 3, that's +4 to your power meter, and you won the hand, which means +1. So it's +5 total. So now every time you do damage, I bet he's flexing here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna win this.
You are. Now look, if you get 3 for your damage meter and 7 for your power meter, you're going to do 21 damage. You're going to F him up. He called you. Don't be 8-8. Be less than 8-8. Come on. Flex. He's flexing. He's got to be flexing.
Yeah.
I knew it. You got to watch this. 21 damage. Boom. Oh, dude, look at this. Look what you're going to do. You're going to bury him. Watch. You're going to bury this guy. This is your finisher. Oh, it's the show has just begun. Just wait. Little lightning effect. RIP exhibition bot. Little pyrotechnics here. And then, of course, we have to end with the daisy. The daisy coming up through the ground. We're going to add a slide whistle. It's going to go. And then you pin him. 1, 2, 3. Game over. You win. So the 1-3 rule was really interesting. Richard came to us kind of a month into kind of prototype development and said, I think the players need one more strategic decision from a design standpoint. There's not enough strategic decisions to be made. And I think a 1-3 would make it interesting. Winning a hand with a 1 is really hard.
No rewards. I want all the rewards.
Well, you're playing the bot, and the bot's not very smart. I mean, come on.
Neither am I. I have lost my other games versus the bot. So
don't change your profile. Change your profile. Let's show people how to update their profile. So go to profile, edit, put in your name. There you go. Let's see if you've
unlocked. I have nothing
anything
else here to pick because I have nothing.
You haven't unlocked anything yet. Okay, it's easy. Like, it's literally like, win 3 games and you unlock something sort of thing. So we reward progression in that.
All of these are not things that I buy. Are they all things that I unlock by playing the game, or is it both?
Yeah, these are just in-game cosmetics that you can unlock through the achievement system like you would Xbox Live or anything like that. And we'll be adding to those all the time.
So these things here in the Brawl store that I can buy for my Brawl, I have 87,000 Brawl up here.
Nice.
Is this?
Hang on! Don't buy anything until we talk about what you're buying.
What here? What are all of these? There's a lot of things in this store.
Well, you look at your category. Let's first go to card backs. So category in the upper left, and then go to card backs. So when you play the PvP game, these are all things that you can customize your account with. So your opponents will see these different aesthetics, right?
So I can get the SNES controller.
The SNES.
So if I buy this,
there you go. And so when the loadouts go live, you can equip like, I want to play with the SNES controller card back, and your opponent will see that. Avatars is just your in-game avatar. Avatar frames are just again
the one up there. I have a frame, I think.
Right. Exactly. Packs is if you own a Brawlers, here's something we did that was really, really interesting. If you craft what's called a rarity pack, which is a blind pack, right? There's legendary, epic, rare, common, uncommon in there. But what you can do is you can put your own skin on your pack that you're selling, so it really stands out. So one guy in our community, all his rarity packs are all snake skins. So when you go to the store, you see like a row of 15 snake skins. You're like, that dude crafted it, and his Brawlosium is a high level, so the content's really, really good. I should look at that. We wanted players to be able to merchandise the things that they were crafting, and so all those different pack skins allow them to really set themselves apart. There's the buy. Starter pack's now available. So you click that buy now.
Down here.
There you go, and it takes you to be able to buy them just like that. Boom.
And how much is it? Is sold in?
Well, it's listed in USD. It's sold in WaxP.
Yeah, I was gonna see how much it's. 216 wax right now.
Yeah. Okay. Now, one downside for you, and I apologize in advance. The viral marketplace has not necessarily whitelisted anchor wallets yet. So that's a little bit of it's on the roadmap. We're going to do it. It's just not going to be immediately available to you, I don't believe, unless they somehow snuck it in. I don't actually control the viral marketplace engineering team, product team, but I tell them, 16% of my audience are anchor users. I'd love it if we could whitelist these guys as soon as possible. Like
I have both.
Oh, you do? Oh, good.
Yeah,
then
course.
if you go to your Wax Cloud wallet, you could buy.
But I don't have any Brawler tokens or anything in my Cloud wallet. I have it all in this
You
wallet.
don't need Brawler tokens. You just need Wax P because the marketplace sells in Wax P and in Brawl. By the way, that's a really cool feature that the Viral Marketplace does. It has Brawl as a settlement currency. So players can list things. Like as an example, if you went up and switched to...
Let's try and see what happens when I try to buy it.
Yeah, good luck.
I'm not whitelisted.
I knew that was going to happen.
I blame Craig. I don't even know if he's involved in it, but I blame Craig anyway.
You shouldn't blame Craig because Craig is a big Anchor Wallet user. So he's like, why can't I buy anything on this? I'm like, I could give you the name of somebody you could blame, and you would have a very colorful conversation because it's not something that he...
So here, I have a piece of apple here, and I have a piece of sauce, and I'm gonna put some sauce on my apple here, and I'm gonna die now because I won a game.
Hot sauce with apples. Okay.
Yeah. Have you never had it?
Sweet and spicy, I guess, right?
Yeah, I've never had it either. Now I have. No, but it was nice. Yeah,
was it good? Okay.
Yeah, it's hot. It's hot and nice. I like hot sauce, so it's a good thing for me.
Great. Yeah.
And
fantastic.
yeah, it's nice and spicy. It's very, very spicy, but it's not too crazy.
Yeah, the Brawl hot sauce.
Nice.
Yeah,
I have a lot of apples and carrots and things, and I will eat that with more hot sauce after the interview, so that's good. I don't want to sit here and eat all day. So now I tried it, and yeah, cool shit. So, do you want to beat me in this game? And don't look at my cards.
Yeah, you know what? Let me close the stream.
Yeah, I'm not sharing it with you anymore. So as long as you're on Discord and the game, it's all fine.
Yeah, let me log in. Yeah, we can absolutely play head to head. That would be a lot of fun for me.
I can recommend apple with hot sauce. Actually, it was very nice.
Okay.
I was not expecting. Well, sweet and spicy is always good, but yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, let me log in. Logging in.
Yeah,
we just pushed a brand new version today.
Yeah.
We pushed a brand new version about an hour and a half ago that we had some connection issues for certain people. We fixed a lot of those. And then also some people were playing exclusively on a VPN, but had a really inconsistent experience. And so we now have engineered it so, connecting through and playing consistently through VPN works. Do you want to go to, let's go to a hosted match. And do you want me to give you a join code, or do you want to give me a join code?
I can host. Okay, I make a. Okay, I think I just host one, and my code is 5x18A.
8 or A?
5x18A, as in Anders. Let's see if you if you find it. Yep.
Just like that. This is exciting. This is my first on-air head-to-head.
Uh-oh. Mine as well. I've had a lot of practice.
Good. Okay.
Last game was my best practice.
I'm glad you won. Oh, and we came in with the same character. I should have gone with a different character. Okay, I'm going to concede this round to you. I'm just going to tell you right now. I'm going to let you win because I have terrible cards.
I should have taken the number 3 then, right?
No, because when you fold, it only does your power meter.
Okay.
The damage multiplier, which is 1, 2, 3, don't come into a consideration when somebody folds. So folding can be a safe bet until this power meter goes up to 5 or 6. Then folding, you're taking 5 or 6 damage. Okay, I'm going to do this again, and you'll see here when I fold, it doesn't really matter what you're going to bet. You're going to do 2 points. So I'm going to go from 23 to 21. I have folded. Have you bet?
Oh, no, I didn't. My bad.
There you go.
I was flexing also.
Yeah. You flexed the first hand. I saw that. Well done. Okay, there. Now I've got 5 cards and you've got 4. Right, so you folded. When it times out, it auto folds for you. Okay, so now let's start to crank things up a little bit here, shall we?
What am I doing?
Yeah, I like that. I like that you're playing it too. No,
I had the best card there. Don't worry.
I can try to goat you into calling me. Maybe I'm if I'm flexing, you beat me. If you're not flexing, but I'm telling you now, I'm not flexing. I'm telling you, I've got you dominated this hand, and I'm gonna pick you up. I'm gonna throw you over my head, and I'm gonna watch you bounce on the mat like a super ball.
So my one is not beating your your hand.
No.
Ventura says there's a strange taste to have apple and hot sauce, and no, you should try it.
Really, well, now I'll be honest with you, you've got me so curious.
Yep.
I want to down and try it. I actually have an apple here at my house. I actually don't know if I have any of the Brawlers hot sauce left.
Oh, have you eaten it or given it away?
I think I tried to take some in my carry-on bag at JFK for NYC NFT, and I think they confiscated it. I think the TSA confiscated it from me.
Oh.
Bastards. Okay, I got you.
I have hot sauce here.
Oh my God. You have a ton of it.
Oh yeah, I have 2. It's the Swedish hot sauce.
That's 2 more than me.
As it should be, right?
Now you're up to 6 cards. I'm at 5 cards. My power meter's at 3. Your power meter's at 2. Okay. Let's go here and here. Let's go here.
So you are gonna beat me now. I will never fold. Can't fold. That's for other people. I wonder why I always lose.
You have to either match my 3 before the timer runs out, or you have to click fold. The person who's lower has to make the decision.
Oh, but I didn't even see that you took a free.
Yeah, it should have shown up on your. Well, now I wish I was watching your stream. It should have shown up.
Yeah, it probably did, but I need to notice it also.
Okay.
For me, it's just
bets. You make your first bet. I make my first bet, and then the lower number has to match, and that's it.
Or this hand is gonna beat you.
You think so?
Don't you worry. Yeah.
I can't. Oh, I don't think it's gonna beat me at all.
What?
Now, do you see my 3 lit up next to underneath my my HUD there? I bet a 3. I see you bet a 1.
I don't see where you bet the 3.
So see my 3? Oh, you folded. Okay.
Yeah. I had 2 1 1.
Oh yeah, shoot! I really wish you would have called me.
No, this is good.
When you call me, the power meter plus times the damage multiplier comes into play. But when you keep folding, you keep taking low damage. Now you're up to 6 cards. I don't like the looks of this. I'm going to do this. Now here's the thing: when you get to 6 cards and then you fold, you can discard every card in your hand if you don't like them.
I don't even know how to discard cards.
Because you're not at 6 cards yet. But what'll happen is your fold button will change to discard, and then you just click, 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 click. They'll turn over like face down. Those are the ones you get rid of. The new ones will be replaced. Oh, you were flexing. I was going to call you on that.
But you didn't.
Anders, I was going to totally call you. I'm like, is he savvy enough to flex right here? You bastard. I see how it is. Okay. I see how it is. And now your power meter's at 5. Mine's at 5. Okay. All right. Let's do this. 6. Are you going to flex again? See, now if you win it with a flex hand, by the way, this is the power of the flex. Because your power meter's at 5, if you win with a flex hand, you do 2 extra power meters. So you do 10 points of damage, which is more than 50% of my health right now. Like, I really don't want you to win this hand with a flex. So that's one thing I have to keep in mind. You just flex. Would you flex again? If you do, I'm totally hosed. Okay, good. Thank you for not flexing. I folded. But I still take 5 points of damage, which still hurts. Okay, now I have to get smart about what I do. I have terrible, terrible cards right now.
You have more health than me, though.
I know, but you've got 6 power meter damage. And you've got the same number of cards as I do. Okay, so let's just do this and see what you do here. I'll show you an 8. Am I flexing, or do I really have another 8? That's what you have to do.
No one knows.
That's what you have to do.
I'll go.
Okay, let's go. Let's see what happens. This is called the showdown. Oh, 8-8 beats 7-7. And I'm afraid my 5 points of damage, power meter times my,
you killed me.
2 points.
Shit,
and see, that was just waiting for the right moment to get aggressive, right? That was the gameplay portion. Like, I had to just pick my spots. I had enough momentum that I could wait out your good cards, and then when I got the right hand, I could drill you. And that's the strategy that comes in.
But these two were my best cards all game, pretty much. I'd never got any good 8s or anything. At least not the last ones.
I hate to say it, but my other 4 cards in my hand were a 1, a 2, a 2, and a 4.
Okay, you should have played those instead.
And 2 8s. So that it really had to work out for me at that moment. If it didn't,
so I got 50 experience. What are experience good for? There is a leaderboard.
Yeah, so there's an experience points leaderboard, but also there's experience points achievements. So, collect 10,000 experience, collect 100,000 experience. You'll continue to unlock things. And really what we wanted to do is we wanted to gamify engagement and retention. And so a leaderboard tied to XP is something else that somebody can be on top of, right? And it's an asynchronous competition, but it still is a competition. People like to compete. They like to progress. They like to see how they grow. And so at some point we may run a tournament as well. Who is the top, 100 in the experience leaderboards? Here's what the payouts are, right? It could be Brawl, it could be Gold, it could be Swag, it could be all kinds of things, right? And so we'll always look to incentivize competitions and reward people for their engagement. And that's just one more thing that we can, now that we have that leaderboard tech in, we can say, oh, number 1 on the experience points leaderboard gets a Wax Scotty. I'm making it up, which is a very sought after, NFT.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things we can do in that regard.
So
that was I love playing you in that.
Yeah, and actually, like, just playing this game solo is not that satisfying or fun. But playing against someone else is more fun, especially when you're in a chat with them and you can talk about what is happening.
Right.
But that is the same. Like, I'm not the kind of person that goes and play any game solo. Pretty much, I always play with other people. Everything I play. Yeah. It's
going to sound maybe disingenuous or maybe even a little bit, messed up, but we don't want you to play the bot and have a good experience, right? We want you to go there to learn the rules. But if playing the bot was the best way to play this game, then we've lost. Like, we failed. Like, really, we want you to play other people. That's kind of the point. Like, we want more players to play more players. And we want to build this whole community around kind of playing head to head. And the thing that we found is that we've got 2 really prominent streamers in our community. One's a guy called Average Casual Gaming. There's a guy named Nashville Lou. They're both big time Twitch streamers. And when they play other players, the people that come in to watch them play other players, it's a real good interactions, right? And it's a really satisfying content creator paradigm for them. And so we want to continue to lean in and give them things that are as much fun to watch as they are to play. So if something is really, really good, it makes a ton of sense. It's very intentional. If something isn't good, then know that we're working on it. That's kind of the thing that we've always said from day one.
Yeah, for me, I would like more notifications in my face when I need to do something in the game. Like if I bet something, then show that big on the screen, your bet, and then if I have to do something again, big on the screen. So like it's in my face. I know what to do. And against the bot, okay, this is your round, this is why, and then a tooltip, this is why their hand beat you, and just the rules and everything. If that comes up on the screen in a box, perhaps that is an option, run tooltip, and it explains why I lost the hand and everything like this. That would really ease the onboarding. Like, you go and play, and then you have this onboarding process through the game while playing, instead of going and reading the Medium article and trying to read and then play, read and then try to understand it and get it in your face. That would be nice.
It's a great point, and it's something that we're very sensitive to as well. Like, there are literally 18 different rules, which sounds like a ton, and it is. And so we've got a tutorial, an in-game tutorial coming, right? Learn what a flex means, learn what the 1-3 rule is, learn why you fold. Like, we're gonna have video examples of all those things where you can play head to head against the bot and you can see it play out. We also have, we've written the how to play, like we have a how to play flow now on Medium that really is, here's the top 3 things to know. So if you only want to read 3 things, know these 3 things. and it kind of stack ranks the order of importance. And then last but not least, like a lot of kind of classic games, is that we're doing a tooltip before each match starts. So on the loading screen will be something really important. Flexing is when ... happens. And so for 10 seconds, this is a very in-your-face sort of thing. But you're right about the in-game experience in terms of like, you said, I didn't see your bet. Like now you'll know where to look because I told you.
Yeah, exactly.
But it would be nice if it was more kind of above the fold and front and center where the pertinent information was on display. So we know we need to do a better job of that, but this is where we're at today. And we'll look at
it would be good like enemy bet is higher or opponent's bet is higher, then you need to redo it. Yeah. Because if I go in and play and then I see, okay, now I bet, okay, why did it didn't work? Do I need to do it again, or do I need to wait for the timer? And yeah.
You actually don't need to wait for the timer. One thing that we don't do that's a little bit of a bug is that sometimes you place a bet, and then if you mouse over it, your button doesn't stay lit. It looks like you turned it off, but you actually didn't. And so that's a little bit of a bug that we have to clean up. And we do need to make those buttons bigger on the screen. So the HUD is very much a work in progress, but I appreciate the feedback, and I don't disagree with you.
Nice.
But now you know how to play.
Yeah, exactly. Now I know how to play, and I'm actually like for live streaming settings, for events like that. It's kind of these more simplistic PvP games is rather good because you can still keep kind of focus on the game, but you can still read the chat. You can still talk to like in. We were still able to communicate while doing this, which is like if we went into say Valorant, a big shooter, I would not be able to focus and read chat while I'm in the game while I'm waiting for people.
If you even sit still for a minute in Valorant, you're getting sniped, and that's all there is to it. And you can't really have a divided attention. I think the thing that I really love about the streamers of blockchain brawlers is that it's fascinating for me to watch because they literally step through their thought process. I see they have this many cards. I see this is what they bet. I see this is what they're doing. This is what I think is going to happen. And then they play the handout. Like it's this real kind of tutorialization because they take their viewers through their thought process, which in and of itself becomes a very educational experience. It's really fascinating to watch. In fact, I was playing Nashville Lou one time and he goes, now this is a situation where I think he's flexing. I'm like, God damn it, I am flexing. He goes, so I'm going to call him. Like, no, don't call me. And he called me and I lost. I'm like, oh man, like you got me. Like it was like I was watching my nightmare play out in front of me as he did the play-by-play of my brain. It was fascinating.
Yeah, that's someone that understands the game, and I mean that is kind of how if you play a lot of PvP games, no matter what it is, you start to learn the pattern of most players. And you can apply something that works more often than not. And the same if you play like an FPS game, you go and you look where people usually come for a faster response time. It's not always the right place, but if it is the right place, you have the upper hand.
Right. Where do people camp? Where do they turtle? Where are the spawn points? Yeah, that's very true. And the thing that I'll say about this game, which I think is very kind of comforting, first of all, this is not pay to win. And second of all, the better players are the ones that have more success are the ones that are able to read their opponent, not necessarily because some people go, I just didn't get the cards. Well, that doesn't matter. Like there's a lot of games that are card dependent, but the winner isn't always the person who's the luckiest. Like you have to have human behavior come into the equation, which makes it fascinating. Like you've got to read your man, right?
Yeah. And don't do like Nick. When we play Valorant, he looks in the ground or up high or... I'm just messing with him.
Yeah, Nick, he just constantly. Nick never ever folds. He calls every bet every time, and knowing that about Nick makes Nick, easy to beat. He'll say, "I've changed my strategy." I don't know that he has, but that's what he'll tell you. Maybe he's trying to low key game everybody, but I know he's like a freight train. He's like, I'm going to call every single bet every single time. I dare you to beat me. That's him. He's a hammer, and to him everything looks like a nail.
No, it looks like code, and he tries to solve it by coding.
Right.
Yeah. No, but that's good. So we have been talking for a while. We have been playing the game and everything, which was nice. I had some hot sauce with apple. Can recommend to try that if you haven't done it before. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that is coming soon in the Brawler verse, or any announcement you're doing, events? So you said there is the Garfield one, the interview is coming. Is there anything else that people should keep their eyes on?
Yeah, there's a bunch of things coming, obviously, because we always have this robust and aggressive roadmap, and it's always about, we very much think of Blockchain Brawlers as a platform. And the thing that I said to you literally back in January when we first met is, don't ever make the assumption, is that it? Because it's never it, right? We're always adding all the time. The thing that I'll tell people to pay attention to is that, swagging out their brawlers, basically putting skins on them. We did that Living Dead one, which you saw with the chain and the hat. Like, that was unbelievably popular and people love that. So we're going to look to lean in there with kind of the new skins that we release, and maybe, give a little love to a skin that we've already given away, kind of a historical past skin. We're going to try to bring those into the game at some point. And so it's going to be a nice mix of, new content being sold that they can use in the game versus historical content that we gave them for free that they can also bring into the game. It'll be a nice blend of those two things. That's something else to look forward to in the next, week or two, or 2.5 weeks. Yeah, about 2.5 weeks out. So right around Thanksgiving, early December is going to be a really big week for the world of Blockchain Brawlers.
Yeah, that's
and we're
nice.
running a first official global tournament. I think on December 1st or 2nd, where we're going to have a Southeastern Asian regional and a Western Europe US regional, because when we tried to find a time that worked for both territories, and it didn't. So we had a lot of people not connecting. So we're going to do this Asian tournament, we're going to do a European/US tournament, and then we're going to have a grand tournament where they meet similar to the LCS and League to try to get max participation. We'll have really cool prizes and rewards there for the people that are able to compete.
If anyone want to play in that, is this open for everyone? Is it invite only? How do you join it?
Well, at the appropriate time, which I think will probably be the week of Thanksgiving, we'll put out a sign up.
And for anyone that isn't American, when is Thanksgiving?
Exactly. Good point. Thank you. Yeah, sometimes I live in my own little echo chamber.
Most people know, but yeah.
So yes. So after around the 27th of November, look for a tournament sign up. And we'll do one for Southeastern Asia. We'll do one for kind of Western Europe, Eastern Europe, US. And then we'll do regions that way, and then the winners will advance, and we'll do kind of a world championship. And the things that we've given away in the first two tournaments, which we just sort of did hey, let's just play, really, really organic. We gave away custom PFPs. We gave away custom card backs where you're the only person in the world who has this one thing Brawlers related. Like, it was highly customized. It's the ultimate flex. So we'll continue to think about that and give prizes out in that regard as well, in addition to the other things that we give away.
That's nice. And that date is when DreamHack in Sweden is, so that's awesome. Then I'm at PC and I'm probably playing Valorant at DreamHack. That will be nice.
Good old Valorant. Those guys at Riot, they're really sharp. They're really good at what they do.
I actually played it the first time a few weeks, month or two ago. I don't remember. Time goes fast, and it's really fun. And it's I've been playing with Nick, and that's why I made the joke about him. I have he and a few friends. They don't always, like, you're supposed to aim at the head or close to the head at all times, so your reaction time is faster, and they don't always do that.
My Riot experience. So I play a lot of League of Legends, and so because I played a lot, I caught the attention of Mark Merrill and Brendan Beck, who are the founders of Riot. So Mark invited me to take the tour of the Riot headquarters, and I did, and they invited me to play in one of their PC bongs with all the creators of League of Legends. And so me and 9 other people who were on the design and production team played a game of League. It was a ton of fun. I mean, I'm a professional game maker, but I felt like a kid at that moment. It was really a wonderful, wonderful experience. And, I got my ass kicked by them, of course, because they're amazing and I'm shitty, but it really was a really, really wonderful, wonderful experience.
Average casual gamers here, no Fortnite love. I played Fortnite since the first season, and I bought the one thing I love about Fortnite is I bought the first season pass, and then you have to pay for it, but you earn enough points to buy the next one if you don't spend it on skins. So I bought the first one, and then I played, got enough. I got the second one, I played, got enough, and next, and next, and next, and next. And I just kept getting all the skins until I was not active anymore. I don't remember what season that was, but that is really nice.
The Battle Pass system and the seasons worked really well. And you can expect that we'll mimic that at some point when we get to that in our roadmap. What does the Battle Pass look like? What are seasons? Are they quarterly? Are they annual? Is it monthly? That's all up for discussion, but we very much think of this as an esport as well. And so we want to have live broadcasts, streamers, shoutcasters, what have you. So that's where this all wants to go.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike, for coming on. I will not take more of your time today. It was really nice to chat again and to play some Brawler and get some info on everything you're doing. This is my orders for today.
Thank you for having me. As you know, you're one of my favorite people in the whole industry to talk to. So I appreciate you having me on. I give you as much time as you need. You said to me back April when it launched, you're like, I'm surprised that's all this is. And I said, I'm telling you, we're building a PvP game. Please just trust me and have faith and have patience. You're like, all right, we'll see. Right. This is our way of answering, a lot of those doubts and concerns to show you what we're doing. Like, we're more than just a click mining game, right? That's not very inspiring. It was very intentional to get the currency in the hands of the players. Now we're going to help you put it to good use through increased utility.
Perfect. Thanks everyone for watching. Share this interview with everyone. Make clips if you want, and have a good one.
Cheers.
Peace.
A Bitcoin bull is all I got left. Sold my clothes, gold no less. Was a circling, hollow hands. This man stronger than